Hello, for this class we will need a block. You can also use a water bottle or something similar to prop the hand. We'll get started today in a comfortable seat. And take a moment to root down, maybe close the eyes if that feels safe. And begin to bring a little more attention in towards the breath as you inhale deep through the nose and exhale, let it go. A few more breaths, inhale and exhale. Full breath in, full breath out. Inhale, fill up through the belly, feel the ribs expand, chest lift. See if you can sip in a little more air and hold at the top. And open mouth, side out. This time we'll inhale, lengthen the arms up overhead. On your exhale, we'll take a twist over towards the left. Right hand can reach over towards the left knee, left hand behind the hips. A few breaths here as you inhale, begin to lengthen up. Exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. You can turn the gaze over the left shoulder. 3 more breaths. One more full breath in, sit up nice and tall. Stay for the exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. Inhale, bring the gaze forward, lengthen the arms up overhead, come back through center. On your next exhale, we'll take a twist over towards the left hand over towards the right knee. Right hand can plant behind the hips. Use your breath to settle in as you inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, maybe twist a little deeper, right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. You can turn the gaze over the right shoulder if that feels good in the neck. About 3 more breaths. On your next inhale, sit up nice and tall. And stay for the exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, bring the gaze forward, back to neutral, sweep the arms up overhead. This time on your exhale, we'll cactus the arms, take it back, find a little back bend as you lift the gaze. One more time, inhale, reach the arms up overhead. On your exhale, cactus the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up through the chest, maybe lift the gaze. Inhale, lengthen up. This time, hands release down towards the legs, come back to that seat. 2 breaths here. You can stay here as long as you need or begin to take some movement through the neck and shoulders. You can draw your chin in towards the chest. Maybe begin to rock ear from shoulder to shoulder, taking full circles if that feels good. About 5 or 6 more breaths. Option to take some circles through the shoulders. If you're taking those circles, switching sides, about 2 or 3 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll go ahead and switch the cross of the legs if legs are crossed. And we'll find our block. We'll take your block or whatever you're using as your prop and set it over towards the right side. About an arm's distance away, you can always readjust. Place the fingertips on the block, and we'll lower our left ear over towards our left shoulder. A few breaths here. You can maybe walk the fingers a bit further away or readjust the block a bit further away from you. Any little movement here in the chin, you can play with tilting it up or down, forward or back. Just notice how that feels on the right side of the neck and the shoulder. We'll take about 5 or 6 breaths here. You can choose to stay here, or we'll bring that right hand to a hover over the block, keeping it in line with the shoulder. Gently cup the hands as if you're holding a large grapefruit, keeping the fingers relaxed. Then we'll begin to rotate the arm and see if you can think about rotating from the shoulder as opposed from the wrist. So palm will face down to start. And slowly we'll begin to tilt the palm up towards the sky. Again, see if you can think about making that rotation start from the shoulder as opposed from the wrist or maybe the elbow. You can move as fast or slow as you'd like. And keep the head heavy, hanging over towards the left. About 3 or 4 more breaths. Wherever you are, we'll release the arm. You can bring the head back through center. Take any little movements that you need through shoulders, neck. Option to take some seated rolling cobras. Hands will rest on the knees or the thighs. On your exhale, we'll twist and dip one shoulder down. You can bring the gaze over the back shoulder. As you inhale, come back through center. Exhale, twist opposite shoulder down as you bring the gaze over towards the other side. About 3 or 4 more breaths. Any other little movement you need to release before we take that to the other side. As you feel ready, we'll take our block or our prop, we'll set it over towards the left, about an arm distance away. Fingertips to the block. Let the head hang heavy over towards the right as you bring your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Any little adjustments that you need, you can tiptoe the fingers away, maybe tilt the chin up and down, forward and back. Just notice how that feels through the left side. About 5 or 6 more breaths on this side. You can choose to stay here, or we'll bring that left hand to a hover. Relax the fingers as if you're holding a large grapefruit. You can begin to take those rotations, again, thinking about initiating that rotation from the shoulder as opposed to from the wrist or maybe the elbow. And continue to keep the head heavy over towards the right. 3 or 4 more breaths. When you feel about even, you can come back through center. Can take any little movements that you need through shoulders, neck, maybe take those seating rolling cobras. About 4 or 5 more breaths to even out. No rush to get there. Eventually, we'll make our way to tabletop for some cat-cow movements. So you make your way into tabletop. Shoulders will stack up over wrists, hips over knees. You can inhale, drop the belly, open up through the chest. On your exhale, press the floor away round through the spine. As you inhale, maybe think about drawing the shoulder blades together. On your exhale, think about pulling them apart. A few more breaths here. Any other little movement that you need from cat-cow, you can peek over one shoulder then the other, creating a little C shape through the spine, or maybe taking some barrel rolls or circles through the hips. About 3 or 4 more breaths. You can stay in this cat-cow movement or maybe begin to take a little stretch through the forearms. This time begin to shift the weight forward and back. You can also change the position of the hands, maybe pointing the fingers away from each other, shifting the weight side to side, or maybe fingers point towards your knees and shifting the weight forward and back. Last option here for our forearm stretch, you can bring the back of the hands down towards the mat, either one hand or both hands, just being gentle here on the wrist, then begin to shift the weight forward and back. About 4 or 5 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll begin to set up for our twist. You can take that block and set it in front of you at the top of the mat. We'll return back to our tabletop position. This time we'll take our right hand behind our head. Press down strong to the left hand as you inhale, open up, point your elbow up towards the sky. On your exhale, we're going to tap our right elbow either towards our wrist or maybe towards our left forearm. See if you can press into the left hand as you round through the spine, tap elbow to wrist. 2 more times. Inhale, open up. Exhale, tap elbow to wrist, press into the left hand, round through the spine. Last time, inhale. And exhale, tap elbow to wrist. This time we'll inhale, open up. You can extend the fingers up towards the sky. This time we'll thread the needle, arm underneath left shoulder, right ear to mat. Left hand can stay out in front, or it can extend up overhead, maybe finding that block. A few breaths here, see if you can use that block to give you a little more length. Maybe even bringing the block a bit over towards the right side behind you. Maybe creating a little more space to twist a little deeper, left shoulder over, reach the right fingers through to get that right shoulder under. About 4 or 5 more breaths. Take your time, begin to unwind, release that left hand in front of the nose. Press down as you open up over towards the right for a counter twist. You can maybe lift your gaze, take circles through the wrists, maybe the shoulders, or flick the fingers. Eventually, we'll come back through center. Any little movements here through tabletop that you need before we take that to the other side. And as you're ready, we'll take that twist to the other side. We'll meet in a neutral spine if you're not already there. This time, left hand behind the head, press into the right arm as you inhale, point that left elbow up towards the sky. On your exhale, press into the right hand, round through the spine, tap elbow to wrist. 2 more times. Inhale, open up. Exhale, tap elbow to wrist, press that hand into the mat as you round through the spine. Last time, inhale. And exhale, tap elbow to wrist. On your next inhale, we'll begin to open up, extend the fingers up towards the sky. When you're ready, we'll thread the needle, left arm underneath right shoulder, left ear to mat. Option to extend that right arm towards the top edge of the mat. Maybe that hand finds the block. And see if that blocks give you a little more length, a little more space to really work that left shoulder under, right shoulder over. You can readjust the block a bit behind you, so reaching over towards the left. Just playing with the adjustments here, see if you can get a little deeper into the upper back, the rhomboids, into the shoulder blades. About 4 or 5 more breaths. When you feel about even, you can begin to unwind. Right hand can plant down as you take that counter twist, open up over towards the left. You can extend the fingers up overhead, maybe circles through the left wrist. You can flick the fingers or maybe circles through the shoulder. Any little movements you need here to release. And as you feel ready, we'll come back through tabletop, taking any movements that you need through cat-cow to even out. No rush to get there. Eventually, we'll make our way to puppy pose. Puppy pose, hips will stay stacked up over knees. Begin to walk the hands forward. And think about melting your chest down towards the mat, chin or forehead onto the mat, whichever feels best in the neck. About 4 or 5 more breaths. And taking your time, we'll begin to unwind. Eventually, we'll meet in child's pose or option for embryo pose, bringing your arms by your side. About 3 or 4 breaths here. When you feel ready, we'll begin to lift up. We'll make our way onto our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. We'll extend onto our backs. We'll start by extending the arms up overhead in cactus arms. So bring your arms to goalpost or about 90 degrees. We'll take some sweeping motions here to create a little more movement through the shoulders, a little more opening through the chest. So on your inhale, straighten the arms, reach the arms up overhead. On your exhale, we'll cactus the arms and then begin to squeeze the elbows in towards the ribs like you're making little snow angels on your back. A few more just like that at your own pace. So as you inhale, begin to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms, and then begin to draw the elbows in towards the ribs. About 4 or 5 more breaths. And as you feel ready, we'll use our hands to draw the knees together. You can bring the legs in towards the chest. Any little movements that you need, you can also find a happy baby. Eventually, we'll lower the legs over towards the left. You can bring the gaze over towards the right. About 3 or 4 breaths here. And take your time. Eventually, we'll bring the legs back through center. Any little movements that you need in between. Whenever you feel ready, we'll lower the legs over towards the right. You can bring the gaze over towards the left. About 3 or 4 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll come back through center. You can draw the legs back in towards the chest or happy baby, any last little movements that you need. Eventually, we'll extend our arms and legs out long, finding our Shavasana. We'll end our class here with a final breath. As you're ready, we'll inhale, flip the belly, ribs, chest. Open mouth, let something go. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my practice with you today, and I hope to be with you next time you're on your mat.